Hello? Nice to see you. Good morning. You look like a mermaid today. Yeah? Well, you know, in today's story that we're going to hear in just a second, Jesus and his disciples, they're in danger, like real danger. They're going to be out on the sea, and there's going to be wind, and there's going to be rain, and there's going to be waves, and they are scared. If you were out on the sea and it was windy and rainy in a boat, would you be scared? I think I'd be scared. They're going to be scared, and then they're going to yell at Jesus while they're in danger, and they're going to ask Jesus one big question. They're going to say, "Don't you care about us?" And I was wondering, why do you think the disciples don't think Jesus cares? If they're in danger, why do you think they think Jesus doesn't care? Can you think of any reasons, Gwen? Maybe they think Jesus doesn't care because Jesus should fix the problem, right? Or maybe they think Jesus doesn't care because Jesus isn't helping. Do you think maybe that's it? Do you think maybe Jesus just isn't helping them? You know, like he's not doing the bucket work like everyone else is doing? Or maybe they think Jesus doesn't care. You know what the real reason is? Jesus is asleep. He's sleeping in the back of the boat. He doesn't even know what's going on. He's taking a nap. And they went and they woke him up and they were like, "Jesus, don't you care that everything's going wrong?" And he didn't even know what was happening because he was asleep. That's kind of funny, isn't it? Well, when they woke him up, Jesus instantly got up and he told the storm, he told the wind, he said, "You be quiet." And he looked at the waves and he said, "You guys stand still." And instantly everything stopped. And then he asked the disciples, he said, "You know, after all this time that you've been with me, do you still not trust me?" Trust is another word for faith. I know that sometimes it's hard for us to trust God, especially when we're scared. Like, have you ever been scared like those disciples? Have you ever felt like really afraid? And it's kind of hard to trust when you're afraid, isn't it? It's because you're worried that other people don't care and no one's going to take care of it and you're in danger. And so I get that. You know, I've got, right here, Gwen, I've got this. Pretty flowers, huh? Those are pretty. You know where I got these flowers? When I first moved here to Mount Zion, these were one of the gifts that were left in my office, these flowers. And I have saved them this whole time. And it's a reminder to me, especially during the pandemic when we couldn't see each other, it was a reminder to me that people at Mount Zion cared about me. Even when I was afraid and I was alone in this really big building and no one else was here, I had these flowers to remind me that everyone here at Mount Zion cares about me. You know, in church, we also have a reminder that God cares about us. We call it baptism. We're going to do a baptism here in a little bit. You guys know what baptism is, right? We're going to splash some water on someone and we're going to bless them. And at baptism, God gives us a promise. God says, "I care about you. I care about you so much that I give you my name." God says, when you were baptized, Gwen, you now became Gwen, child of God. And when we baptize Violet in a little bit, she's going to get a new name. She's now going to be Violet, child of God. She's going to have God's name as part of her name. And God says, "I promise to always be with you." And that's a pretty big promise, isn't it? To always be with you. So like I said, I know we can feel like the disciples and feel like maybe God doesn't care because we're so afraid. But God has promised to always be with us, no matter what. On the fun days, on the sad days, and on the scary days, God says God will always be with us. And one of the ways that we remember that is one of the things that happens at baptism is we make a sign of a cross on our foreheads. I've told you about this before, right? And so one thing you can do when you are afraid and you're worried that God doesn't care is you can take your finger and you can make a cross on your forehead and you can say, "I remember that God promises to always be with me." Do you think you can do that? Do you think everyone can do that? Make a sign on the cross on your forehead and say, "I remember that God promises to always be with me." That's one of our reminders from baptism of God's promises. So you guys say a prayer with me now. Can we fold our hands? Do a prayer. Say, God, thank you for baptism.
Thank you for baptism
and for your promise
and for your promise
to be with us always.
to be with us always.
Help me remember
Help me remember
that you care for me,
that you care for me,
especially when I'm afraid.
especially
Love you.
of you.
Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for coming up, guys.